Hello Pisces, and welcome to your May reading from transition from Taurus. So let's see what basically is happening this particular month. I'm going to take one oracle card in the beginning and one toward the end. You're getting dance, celebration. This is a really interesting card because it is about what we see in this card, and it's also about what we don't see in this card. Clearly, it's really talking about ritualistic dances, right? Those type of dances are being handed down for centuries. So this is basically when a dance is basically telling a story, and the story is being shown through movement. And there are like lots of elements there, tradition and ritual, and also their own enthusiasm and their own spirit in basically in interpretation, if you will wish. So what is unseen over here is like the people who are possibly cheering it on and participating in all of that. It could be that the entire village is celebrating something, right? And it could be some kind of communal celebration. So this is like something that has been going on for thousands of years, and no matter what kind of like lineage we have, we come from, this kind of like type of celebrations have been taking place, this kind of like ritualized storytelling, right, that included singing and dancing. So there's like something about our roots, there is like something about concrete ways that you need to express your love and your gratitude and appreciation toward your ancestors as you are becoming a part of these big stories, right? So it is also talking about the quality of spirit. So you are that quote unquote the 12th sign. So you are already crossing over, you are already kind of like that bridge, and that's why you're bestowing kindness on everybody, but also you can show very sharp teeth. Jaws movie come to mind. If somebody really ticks you off, you're going to say, no, you are not crossing over, you are still staying here until you learn the lesson, kind of a thing, right? So it's going to be really important this particular time that you keep your spirit very high, and also that you activate yourself physically, that you express your gratitude and even your happiness through physical movement. So you need to focus on what is there in your life that you can or you want to celebrate, right? So whether or not this is like literally slinging singing or dancing, but it's also about kind of like focus about, hey, what is in my life that I'm really grateful for. And it kind of like boils down to kind of like that integration, to realization of, hey, you know what, I am taking care of this and I am grateful for whatever. I usually have this gratitude journal, which I don't write every day, but from time to time I kind of like put my own entry, and always that entry is, I'm so grateful to have my pets and roof over my head, very simple things, because I think this is really what matters, that we have that appreciation. Alright, so we're going to check the other card just in a bit, but for now I want to see what else is coming up for you this month. So Pisces, Pisces, So bottom of the deck you have Three of Sea, and the first major is the Sun. So the Three of Sea was reversed. So to me this is really talking about variety and accepting strangers and always feeling the more the merrier kind of a thing, appreciating differences. But when this reverses, and it is like basically a water flavor card, it's really telling me that maybe you're not exactly in the mood to open up. It can be one of those, this like fish in your representation of your sign. It's like two fishes, and one swims this way, one swims the other way. So it can kind of like go both ways. So maybe you're kind of like really interestingly enough celebrating, but you're really choosing who is basically in your narrow circle, because this is what this card is really showing, kind of like who belongs, who is here and who has to be outside, whether or not they're really interesting and fun, or simply they have to be kept away. So it's going to be one of those things. You're going to realize literally where you belong and also who doesn't belong to be around you. So you have the Empress over here, which is, if you're a mother, and this is going to be a big source of pride about both that you're taking care of your basically offspring, that they're comfortable, that they are being nourished, but mostly are going to be really proud that you are there for them whenever they need you, which is like maybe something that you didn't have, or didn't have in a way that you really wanted to have this. And maybe now this is kind of like going even a little bit overboard, because this is like, I mean, the ultimate kind of like strong card in terms of femininity. So if you're a man and you're watching this, maybe you're putting somebody on your pedestal. It could be your mother, or it could be that your ideal woman would be somehow everything. So it could be a certain level of perfection that is coming up. So Ten of Fire is really talking about that you really need to think ahead. You really need to think through, hey, what can go wrong in this situation? I know to some extent it can be seen as a negative thinking, and sure, it could be. But Ten of Fire is also talking about some secrets are being revealed. Something is coming out. Somebody's maybe feeling comfortable to quote-unquote confess something. Maybe some truth is coming to the surface. Maybe some realization of something is coming to the fore. And maybe it's going to be coming from your own children, or somebody who you feel very protective about. That could be, I guess, your friends, or even, you know, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, somebody extremely close to you. And when you hear it, you're not going to react unfavorably. You're going to feel, hey, you know, come, just too shall pass, kind of a thing. So what is on the bottom here is Six of Earth. There is like some essence that you're feeling, and we did see it here as well. I mean, these cards can talk about some kind of like self-recognition, and you guys generally a very selfless sign, but that doesn't mean you're stupid. And there is a difference. Selfless means giving, but if you feel that you're being taken advantage of, or if you're feeling that you know, it's really not appreciated, or maybe it's not in the best interest for this person's growth, then you withdraw. And I really think to some extent, even though you're there to listen and to provide comfort, it doesn't mean that you are going to be a doormat. And there is like some observation that you're going to have this month about somebody, where it's going to feel more or less that you have been a giving party, and they kind of like established the deal, quote unquote, between the two of you. Is like you give and they take, and this doesn't work for you anymore. And it's kind of like really not the thing. And maybe that's going to be kind of like some sort of revelation. So then you have the Priest here in the past. This is about some rules. This could be about your own relationship, about your own marriage, or you willing to have something firm, and something that is not just let's move in together and let's do this stuff, but like a ring on a finger. Not necessarily a kitty ring, but you know what I mean. You know, put a ring on it, and it's really, really important. Maybe somebody is like right now connecting and telling you about that. Maybe you're seeing that even though you're getting along with someone, that you really cannot accept, let's say, a bigger situation. Maybe their family members will be just too annoying, it will be just too much, it will be wreck your relationship and marriage. There's like some element over here of things not necessarily gelling, and you're like kind of like seeing this like bird eye of the situation. You might be dealing with somebody, this is the Queen of Swords, and she's reversed. Oh boy, not a really nice person when she reverses. So somebody is having influence on you, somebody is being judgmental, somebody is basically criticizing you of your way of life. This person is very different from you, or maybe this is the person that you're finding out about. This also could be somebody who is a rival, somebody who you're competing with for to be with against this person or something like that, right? But that person is scratching and screaming, and he just like simply wants her way. She's really capable of doing a pretty sensational rebel attack, and that's really not your style. So maybe you just like simply step in a situation where you really don't want to be. You maybe have been in that situation because of your enormous generosity, but hey, you're saying to yourself, I didn't sign up for this. Kind of like, count me out. I don't want to be here. So what is ahead is Earth Tone. So you are very torn in between being a friend, being there somewhere for somebody. So this is, again, we are seeing this protective quality and being there for somebody in a time of need, right? And then we're also seeing like, get me out of here thingy going on over here. And then you have here a Fire King reversed, and this is basically in your own house. You're kind of like feeling that you want to be somewhere, but there's like also that another person is really rubbing you the wrong way, to a point that when you interact with this person, you're just not being yourself. You become being argumentative yourself, you become unreliable yourself, or somebody's telling you unreliable, and all of a sudden this is kind of like creating a mess, and there are like discrepancies in how you see basically the same event, and it's just like, oh my gosh, am I in some kind of like Twilight Zone? Like I'm in like feeling like, hey, I'm going nuts. This is all just like basically crazy. But let's see your environment. Your environment is Five of Sky. Yes, you're having people around you this particular month. Look at this. They're like street cats. They're sky cats in this particular deck, are basically cats that have been discarded. They had to fend for themselves. And simply they always felt excluded. But they survived because they did find certain way, they did figure out how to hunt, how to survive, how to be. But at the same time, this gave them certain roughness, right? So this is the Sky Queen that did manage to get to the top of the heap. So the roughness is also maybe revenge, but maybe simply negation of all of these beautiful, let's say, pure-blooded cats that generally have what was never given to them. So there is an opposition that is really happening over here, just because, basically, you can say because of the color of your skin, because of, who you really are, some kind of like denial, and somebody just like really attacking you for basically no valid reason. It's not about you, it's literally about them. But this card here reversed, so it's again talking about somebody possibly feeling higher than you are. So it's almost like the opposite situation, where it could be elitist situation, that somebody is putting you down because they kind of like achieved more. But they really achieved more because they had more privileged situation, and somehow situation voided of troubles, etc. And it's really not a fair comparison. And you're really comfortable in your own skin, and you're really comfortable with what you can give, but you are at no point trying to present yourself as anything greater or less great, but you also don't appreciate this critique and criticism, right? It's kind of really weird that somebody's really trying very, very hard this month to make you dance their own tune, and you are like feeling a little bit really ticked off with this, especially because this person is making you do things out of reaction, more or less, and say things that you really otherwise wouldn't do, right? So hopes and fears is the world. You just want all of this to stop. You're just saying, look, I'm ready. I'm ready. Put a fork in me. I'm ready. This is the karma card, sort of like my half karma cards, because something is going to happen. So the day before the new moon, 21st, and the new moon, 22nd, you're going to have completely kind of like shift. It's going to be basically saying to yourself, no more. No more. I need to kind of like take care for me, about me, and how I really go about things. So it's going to be very, very important to me. The world is like achievement. It is, but it's falling in your hopes and fears, which means it's being read both ways. There is a part of you that kind of hesitates going in a new direction because you think you need to handle the situation, but truly the only basically solution is to exit the situation. That's pretty much what it is, and maybe that's what the celebration being kind of like free. So this is all heading to 9 of fire. You are not going to exit situation yet. So this is like 10 of fire, and there is a 9 of fire. So you're stepping back. You're not exiting, but you're stepping back. You are kind of like calling possibly a conversation. You're calling a meeting. You are saying, well, let's kind of like put it all on the table and see what we can really work out of it. What is basically what is really happening, and what can we do about that? So the mystery card is service. Oh boy, well, I'm not surprised that this card is really showing up for you. So we are seeing here, I mean, really devoted, daughter sitting right next to her mother, and her mother on her dying bed is really telling her that admission, and I think it's really relevant to your reading over here, that, hey, I'm a failure, because this is the mother over here that we see. I'm a failure because I didn't find a career outside of my home. All I did was just cook, and that's all I did. But the daughter basically said, no, you have achieved something more important, which is passing on a legacy of service, right? And being a mother is a really great accomplishment. So somebody is really taking away, especially if you're a mother, and this also can mean your own ideas, your own quote-unquote metaphorical children. So you need to really see the life as it is, because it seems to me you're saddled with somebody else's vision of who you should be and how you should be working out. So this is kind of like giving you this month an opportunity to look where you are today and give up what you really think that you deserve and rather be of service. So this is kind of like your universal calling to start with. You need to find what is inspiration, what enthuses you, what is the story that you want to tell 20 years from now, and if the situation you're in is a part that you really want to be a part of that story, or this is the chapter that you would much rather erase. If this is so, then maybe you should take what you want and what you have, what it really works for you, and reshuffle and reconfigure the entire situation. You are not going to be willing to compromise any values, which is really good. You're going to kind of like have healthy self-esteem, but there are also going to be really lots of precious memories that is going to trigger your compassion, but it's also going to give you strength. So you'll try to be a peacemaker this particular month, in spite of basically having these conflicts, or that could be direct or could be indirect. You might just be called in as a peacemaker, but nonetheless, there is a shift happening over here, which is going to be very welcome for you, and it's going to kind of like give you a completely new horizon and completely new perspective. So my dear Pisces, if any of the messages here have been sent to you, I hope they find you well. So please subscribe if you haven't already. You have my social media, so come and visit, because then you can get your daily dose of tarot. And lastly, if you want a reading from me, contact me at cattarot.ca, or down in the description it's my email. So feel free to either comment on the channel or just send me an email and kind of like send me your sentiments, or if you have any inquiry, that's the best way to find me. I love you. Have a wonderful month, and I'm looking forward to hearing from you. All the best.